In this module, you've explored the techniques of formal logic and logical reasoning. We will now use the applied reasoning strategy of problem solving to solve an interesting little logic puzzle. Let's take a look. Our puzzle gives us the information that 6 girls, Sarah, Tracy, Ursula, Vera, Wendy, and Zara, each play at least one of 3 sports: rugby, tennis, and volleyball. We're then given a number of conditions, the bulleted list below. Take a moment to read through this list. As you read through this list, see if there are any statements that you can translate into formal logic in order to better understand the puzzle. I found 2 that are easily translated to formal logic. Sarah plays no sports, Wendy plays is the first of these 2. We can write this in if-then format as shown here. If Sarah plays a sport, then Wendy does not play the sport, because Sarah and Wendy play none of the same sports. We also know that the contrapositive is true. If Wendy plays a sport, then Sarah does not play a sport. Recall that you find the contrapositive by switching the left and the right sides, the if and the then, negating each side, and then changing any ands to ors and vice versa. There are no ands and ors, so all we had to do here was swap if s then no w to if w then no s. See how we both reversed and negated? Now our second formal logic statement can be found here. Ursula and Sarah play no sports in common. This is essentially the same statement as the other statement about Sarah and Wendy. Playing no sports that Wendy plays is basically the same as saying that Sarah plays no sports that Ursula plays. So, we can rewrite in the same way. If Ursula, then no Sarah. If Sarah, then no Ursula. Now, we've simplified this a little bit by translating into formal logic, but there's a lot more work to do in order to fully understand which sports each of the girls plays. When we're using logical reasoning, it's often helpful to try to organize our thoughts. In order to do so, we can create what's called a schematic, shown here. This basically is a diagram that summarizes all of the possible information and all of the information that's given in the conditions. So we see we have our 6 girls, Sarah, Tracy, Ursula, Vera, Wendy, and Zara, and our 3 sports. We're trying to figure out which sports each girl plays, so we can apply the conditions by putting X's in boxes where there's not a match. In other words, if we put an X in the Sarah rugby box, that means Sarah does not play rugby, and open circles, or O's, when there is a match. So if Sarah plays tennis, we would put an O in the box that corresponds to Sarah and tennis. Let's apply each of our conditions and place them in this box as much as possible. Let's look at our first condition. Vera and 3 others play rugby. Now we know, therefore, that Vera plays rugby, so we put an O in that box. But there's not much we can do about the 3 others right now. We don't know which ones they are, and there's not really a clear way to demarcate which girls might play rugby. So we'll just leave this statement at the top of the schematic and hold on to it for later. As we fill in more information, this might be useful and help us to further specify our situation. Let's look at our second statement. Wendy plays tennis and volleyball. So we know that we should put an O in the Wendy tennis and the Wendy volleyball boxes. We don't know any